As we get closer to Halloween, some of us turn to fun costumes and candy, while other of us can't wait to visit haunted houses and seek out scary experiences. Well, if you're of the latter persuasion, you might be interested to know there are several haunted hotels with actual documented sightings in America that you can stay at this year. So today I want to share 13 of the most haunted hotels in America. So let's go ahead and dive in. The first is La Fonda on the Plaza in New Mexico. This one is in Santa Fe. It was built in 1609 and has been several inns with persistent hauntings all throughout. Some of the ghosts that you might see at this hotel are a judge shot in the lobby, a businessman who gambled everything away at the hotel and then jumped down a well, and even a bride that was killed on her wedding night. These are only a few of the ghosts you might run across because, as you can imagine, since 1609, there has been quite a lot happening at this well-known hotel in New Mexico and the only one on the plaza. The next is the Equinox in Vermont. Now, this one is in Manchester and has been open for over 250 years. President Lincoln and his family actually vacationed here, and it is said that Mary Todd Lincoln still roams the property today. There are many guests that have reported unusual activity and otherworldly events at this resort. Oftentimes, it's shadows that move quickly out of the corner of your eye, ghostly whispers, and cold spots in various places. Also, some strange lights and just the general feeling of not being alone. If you're looking for a historic haunted hotel and you happen to be in Vermont, this might be the perfect location. Next is the Pfister Hotel in Wisconsin. Now, this one is in Milwaukee. It was built in 1893, and it was very advanced for its time, having a lot of advanced amenities and features that weren't often available in that year. This is also where a lot of MLB players stay when they come to play baseball, and there are many that have reported their own experiences. Some who have had such bad experiences that they refuse to stay here to this day. They're just too afraid. One of the stories I want to share with you is this one here by Michael Young, who says, I'm not someone who spreads ghost stories. So if I'm telling you this, it happened. A couple years ago, I was lying in bed after a night game and I was just out. My room was locked, but I heard these footsteps inside my room stomping around. I had heard all these stories about this hotel, so I was wide awake at that point. And then I heard it again, these footsteps on the floor. So I yelled, hey, make yourself at home, hang out, have a seat, but do not wake me up, okay? After that, I didn't hear a thing for the rest of the night. I just let him know he was welcome. Also, from Bryce Harper, when I woke up in the morning, I swear on everything, the clothes were on the floor and the table was on the opposite side of the room against the wall. I was so flustered, I honestly thought there might be somebody in my room. I had no idea what the hell just happened. And one more from Mike Cameron. When somebody tells me when they wake up in the middle of the night out of the blue and they feel like somebody's in the room with them and the door is wide open, that's enough to start making different plans. So as you can see, this hotel has had quite a few experiences. And if you happen to be in Milwaukee, this might be the perfect place to have a haunted stay. Next is the 1886 Crescent Hotel and Spa in Arkansas. This one is in Eureka Springs. It was actually taken over by the criminal Norman Baker in 1937. He turned it into a hospital claiming that it was a treatment for cancer. But in actuality, there was some nefarious things happening where he would bilk people out of money and mistreat the people that were staying there. There are several reports emanating from the morgue on site, and this location is all in on their history. They don't try to hide the fact that they are haunted, and they offer nightly ghost tours and images of the ghosts that have been caught on film throughout the years. Next is the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel in California. This one is in Hollywood, built in 1927. It is actually the home of many of the golden age of Hollywood stars like Rudolph Valentino and Carol Lombard. But one of the most famous hauntings is that of Marilyn Monroe. She lived in room 1200 for 2 years when she was just starting out, and many people today still report seeing her in the mirror in that room. She's not the only one, though. There's also reports in room 928 where people have seen the ghost of Carol Lombard floating around the upper floors. They've also seen Tuxedoed Man and the presence of a man in a white suit. As this was the home of several of the Hollywood events and award shows, it's not surprising that you would see some ghosts that were dressed to the nines. Next is the Stanley Hotel in Colorado. This one is in Estes Park and it was built in 1909. This is actually the inspiration for the book The Shining by Stephen King. In 1911, during a large storm, the head housekeeper was lighting the lanterns in room 217 when there was an explosion. She was blasted through the door and into the dining room below. Believe it or not, she actually survived just with broken ankles. Now she spends most of her afterlife taking care of that room. Guests have reported items moved, luggage unpacked, and lights being turned on and off. She's also very old fashioned and is not a fan of unmarried guests sleeping in the same bed. So some couples have reported feeling a cold force between them. When they wake up, they often find that the man's things have been packed and his luggage is by the door. Jim Carrey actually stayed in the room 217 when he was filming Dumb and Dumber. He reportedly got so spooked that he ran from the room half naked in the middle of the night. There's also the vortex, which is a staircase between floors. It is a tornado of spiritual energy, sort of a paranormal portal for all the ghosts that visit the hotel. Guests report cold spots and feeling dizzy on the stairs, as though something has just walked right through them. Orbs and distortions have been caught on camera, and Mr. and Mrs. Stanley, the creators of the hotel, the builders of the hotel, have even been seen hand in hand watching over the hustle and bustle from the grand staircase. Next is the RMS Queen Mary in California. This is actually a retired Cunard ship that is permanently docked in this location and is now a hotel, restaurant, and there's a lot of events and meetings in this space as well. If you're visiting the hotel for purely historic reasons, it's actually a great stay because you could see what a historic ship was like. The original staterooms and public areas are exactly what they were in its heyday. But it's also popular with ghost hunters and has been called the most haunted hotel in America. In particular is stateroom B340, which has the most reports of bizarre and otherworldly experiences. Now, the Queen Mary is also one of those places that leans into their haunted history, providing tons of different ghost tours, paranormal investigations, and so much more. Now, I've personally stayed here twice now. Now, granted, I wasn't ghost hunting at the time. One of the times I remember feeling cold spots and just the general feeling that something was wrong. And then the second time I didn't necessarily feel anything. So take it for what it's worth, but it has been called the most haunted hotel in America for a reason. So if you are in California and you are into the supernatural, this might be a great place to stay. The next is the Marshall House in Savannah, Georgia. Now, this one was built in 1851, and Savannah itself is a city known for being a hotbed of paranormal activity. This particular location was used as a wartime hospital and twice as a hospital for yellow fever epidemics. There are reports of ghosts and hearing children running up and down the halls. It was named the #2 best haunted hotel this year from USA Today. It is featured on Savannah's ghost hunting video. It's been called the best haunted hotel several years in a row, and all the other things that you see before you. So if you are there for that, this might be the perfect place to stay. Next, we have the Emily Morgan Hotel in Texas. This one is in San Antonio. And actually, on the spot is where the Mexican forces battled the Texans in the long barracks of the Alamo in 1836. 600 men died on this site. And when this building was originally constructed, it housed medical professionals and had been reported to also have a wing for those suffering from psychological conditions. It also housed a morgue and crematorium. Staff and guests have reported several spooky events throughout the years. Maids will clean a room and go into the bathroom to clean, and when they come back out, all of the pillows are thrown onto the floor. Elevators stop at random floors for no reason, and video cameras have captured orbs and strange shadows lurking about the building. Some have even seen a woman in white walking the halls. Next is the Lizzie Borden House. Now, this is actually now opened as a bed and breakfast in Fall River, Massachusetts. The original home was actually purchased by the Bordens in 1872 and remodeled throughout the years. And this is the site where Andrew and Abby Borden were hacked to death with a hatchet, reportedly from their daughter Lizzie, but it's still a mystery today. The decor in this home has been painstakingly duplicated from that era, and there's a lot of the original hardware and doors and different things for that time. They also lean into their history and have many ghost tours and events centered around its haunted history. Next is the Hawthorne Hotel in Massachusetts. This one is in Salem, and this actual building was created in 1809, but that spot has been used since 1766. This is named the fourth most haunted hotel by Travelocity in 2007 and is the home of several famous actors and politicians that have stayed there throughout the years. In its history, it has caught fire 6 times. The third time was what finally killed the owner and builder of this hotel, and then three more fires since then. It is considered to be cursed land, but there's also strange happenings, mostly in rooms 325 and 612, which have ghosts, things moving, and so much more. Not to mention, this is another haunted location in Salem with the Salem witch trials. There are many locations in this city that are all centered around a lot of haunted and paranormal history. And all of the haunted places aren't always necessarily a bad and scary thing. There are actually some hauntings that are quite friendly, such as the Queen Anne Hotel in San Francisco. This house was built in 1890 and was originally a girls' boarding school. So while it is haunted, yes, it's actually haunted by somebody who takes care of its guests. And this includes having their suitcases unpacked, having them tucked in at night, also even singing them to sleep. So if you're into hunting, but maybe not the scary kind, this might be a great place to stay. The last place I want to talk to you about is the Palomar Inn in Temecula, California. Now, I actually have not stayed at this hotel, but I just recently went on a ghost tour where we talked about this hotel, and I actually got some firsthand stories about things that have actually happened. This one was actually built in 1927 and is next door to a Native American burial ground. And the difference here is it's not just haunted by ghosts. There's actually a phoenix totem that is said to come to life at night. There's reports of loud screeches and even people being attacked by something bird-like that pecks their faces and leaves behind black and white feathers. On my recent tour, as I mentioned, to Temecula, I was told that the owners of the shop it's on the first floor, there's a store there. They actually were called in the middle of the night by the police because they came by and all of the lights had been turned on and the music was blaring at full blast. And they had been gone for hours and this had happened and they had to go and turn everything off. Others hear yelling and what sounds like gunshots, yet others can actually feel hands touching them at night in their bed. So these are just some of the places that you can stay if you're interested in even more haunted locations of places you can visit, not necessarily hotels, but haunted locations to take advantage of this Halloween season. Take a look at these videos here. And other than that, I want to thank you so much for stopping by. I will see you on the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.